Did you log me out from booking appointments? No.
I think we're live now, aren't we?
Are we?
Look,
Let me check
it
my
looks like
YouTube.
looks like it's counting down.
Is it?
Yeah, it has a little timer on there.
Oh yeah, it's us in the corner.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay. Well, here we are, cuz finally.
Finally, yeah.
Too bad it took. Let me see if I
Hi
can see us.
guys. Who's this Miss Lady Blue World? Hello. Finally, yeah.
Oh, we look good.
Delay.
Can you see?
How cute. I'm on my phone,
Okay.
so
Oh,
we'll
you
get
can't
the
see it.
computer right one day and work on that. So I can't really see it right now. So
Okay.
but I'll have to get all the stuff to edit and everything.
Yeah. No, I got you.
channel.
I'll edit.
Okay.
I can edit all day. We're doing great. Thanks for
Cool.
joining us.
Yes.
So
hi.
my name is Shauna Mae. I think everybody knows from Shauna Mae's vlogs. It's my cousin Nessa Necessary Vibes. And we just wanted to discuss and, have an organic conversation about our, I hate saying cancer journeys, but I guess that's what it is.
I mean, we on it, so not
Yeah,
by
we on
choice,
our.
but we on it. Here we are. Yeah.
Here we are. Yeah. And I think it's just great, or not great, but in this space, like we're able to offer like two totally different perspectives, like me being breast cancer, your ovarian cancer, us being first cousins, and neither one of us had the BRCA gene.
Neither one of us had that.
Part to me. That's the craziest part to me.
It's
I
wild.
Never in a million years, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's because everybody wants answers and they think, oh, okay, it has to be genetic. That's like the first thing there must be. And it's like, well, it's not genetic. Where did this come from then? And it's just wild. I don't know. It's just really weird.
Especially with us being so young. No, you're right. And us being so young, I was like, I know I got to have the BRCA gene. Like, and genetics is only like, what? I think like 20% or something. It's a really small percentage.
It's that. Yeah. And I think it changes with whatever different types of cancers there is too. So, I mean, it's really hard to, I guess, I don't want to say offer to find solutions, but it's really hard to like figure out like why this happened. Like, so you can start healing, and treatment and do it well. So you can kind of like wrap your mind around it, because you need to have your mind wrapped around some things first. And it's just like, okay, this doesn't fit anything that is stereotypical or what you see on like the movies or TV. It don't fit none of that, so.
Yeah. No, I definitely. Oh, look, my mom is here. Hi, mommy. Hi, Andy.
She's still my Aunt Betty. I don't care.
She's still your aunt.
That's just how it goes. Yeah.
And yes, Miss Lady Blue World, I definitely think it's something in the food. I feel like we can't eat food, drink water. 2023, I'm the most organic person you've ever met, because this can't happen again.
I was doing a lot of plant-based stuff though too, like beforehand, because you guys know I'm a chef. I'm a trained chef. Went to the Cordon Bleu, had my degree in it, and I will say, I think part of it is the United States has a really horrible standard when it comes to food. I think it's like something like 99. There's like either 90 to 99 chemicals and stuff that they allow in our food that is not allowed in most first world countries. Because I have friends over like in New Zealand, and we were doing our internship together almost 10 years ago, if you could believe, at Disney World. They used to tell me, they're like, you guys' food is so horrible over here. And it wasn't until I went to Spain and I went to France, I saw exactly what they were talking about. And I was so mad when I got back to America, because just simple things like, if you notice, you go in the grocery store, can you really smell the fruits and the vegetables? No. Honestly, so it was so different. Like when I was in Saint-Tropez, there's this open air market. You can smell all the different fruits and vegetables and stuff, because they don't use like pesticides and chemicals. They don't use like a wax covering over it. So, I was always like really mindful to like wash my fruits and vegetables, be careful about what I eat. I try to eat as seasonally and local as possible. I was doing all the things, and my doctors were like, vegans still get cancer. people plant-based still get cancer. It's just like, why? Why did this
Yeah.
happen? So
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
but they did say though, because I was doing good, because I stayed away from like a lot of sugars and stuff like that, didn't do like sodas and things like that, that helped to provide a good foundation though. So I would
Yeah.
say that's not a substitute, it's not to say just, screw it all and just do whatever you want, but
Yeah.
give yourself like a good foundation to build off of, because you just never know. But I don't know. It's just so weird. I wish
Yeah.
I had the answer to
No, I
pinpoint.
wish I did.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Were you even like, so how did you find out? Like, was
Oh,
it
how did I find
was
out about ovarian
yeah.
cancer? Well,
Yeah, like how
one,
did you
there's
know you
no
had
detection. You can't feel yourself or detect anything like, hey, I got
yeah.
ovarian. I might have ovarian cancer there. There's
Yeah.
no, that's part of about ovarian cancer, that there's no test to really test for to see if you have it or possibility. It's just like you have it and let's see what stage you're in, which is scary. But how I found out I had it was, um okay, and this, I don't want to be TMI, but I was severely constipated. Honestly, I remember it was going to be rolling up Super Bowl weekend, so a couple of days prior to that, I was feeling really like, am I? I woke up with some really bad pains, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh my god, I'm constipated. I'm like, but why? Because I wasn't eating a lot of dairy or anything like that. Like I said, I was doing a lot more plant-based, not 100%. At one point I was doing like 100% like hardcore, and that's the best I've ever felt. So I might be going slowly back to that when I can start doing my own meals.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was, wasn't anything too bad. I'm just like, what is that? And so I was trying to just like do the home remedies, because that's the natural. You're like, my stomach hurts, this is the only thing I could think of. And I
Yeah.
even tried like, enema, and everything seemed fine. Does this do? It's
Yeah.
fine. So I carry on as normal. My mom was away, with our grandmother in California, and it was me and my sister. We were hanging out. We like went, and I remember we went shopping that Saturday to help her find an outfit for her friend's bridal shower. We went out to lunch. I mean, it was like girls' day out. Then that Sunday, I remember it was Super Bowl, and we're not eating bad, but having a little bit of Super Bowl food, but just having a good
Yeah.
time. Nothing bad. Wasn't feeling bad or anything. And it wasn't until the night of Valentine's Day, I actually had a little, because I'm about making that extra money, multiple streams of income. So, I was
Right.
working part-time at Amazon as a, temporary, whatever. And I was on my way to my Amazon job, which was at night. And I got this really bad gas pain, or what I thought it was really bad gas pain. And because I stopped at the convenience store to get like something to drink, and I called my mom, because my mom worked in the medical industry, and I just figured, okay, well, she might know what this is, or is this something else, or whatever. And she's like, no, it got worse as I'm driving and talking with her on my speakerphone. She's like, gas, you need to just go back home if it's really bad, because it was really bad shooting pain. So I called at work, and my mind to go to the hospital. And I just got home from work, and she took me to a ER. And I guess it wasn't bad, but it's not the best care facility. I guess we were there, and I walked around. She called my mom. My mom was like, have her go home, and she said, I really don't feel good about that hospital. This is why I pays this to your mom.
Right.
Sometimes, she's like, I don't
Right.
feel really good about that. Try to get her into like a CVS Minute Clinic or something. And she said, because that's better than urgent care, because urgent care could be like a big ripoff. Have, take your money, send you to ER anyway. But she said,
Right.
try that, get some more enemas and stuff, and let's see what happens. And my sister's a trained nurse as well. So she works in
Yeah.
pathology as well. So that's interesting, right? So got the right
Yeah.
person,
My family is
got the right,
educated.
exactly. She got a degree in molecular biology. That was her bachelor's degree, and she works in pathology at the Mayo Clinic. So, if I'm going, and she's a trained nurse too. So I'm like this, if I'm going to be ill and have this issue, she was like the best person to be ill and have this
Right.
issue with, right? So we couldn't get an appointment till the next evening, So luckily I work from home for my other stuff. And I just wasn't feeling good. And we tried to do some of the home remedy stuff again. I just wasn't feeling good. Then I started feeling okay. And I was laying on the couch because I couldn't move. And her dog, who just turned 15 this year, hopped up on the couch, which he never does anymore. He got hopped up on the couch. I remember it was like 12:30, hopped up on the couch, and he stayed with me the whole time. And he just had his paw on me. I was like, dang it, something's wrong. Because you know what they be saying? Animals and kids be knowing.
They do know.
And so, yeah, you be knowing. I just like, dang it, something is wrong. But I wasn't anticipating. And like, literally, they were going to tell me, you need to go to colonic. You're severely impacted. This is what you got to do. I wasn't thinking I'm going to need surgery or anything like that. So, long story short, my sister takes me to the clinic at CVS. I had started spiking fever, and the lady was feeling on me and everything, and she said, something's wrong. I just don't have the medical equipment here to help you, but you need to go to the emergency room tonight. And she said, because she felt it. She said, something's going on there. She felt it was tight. It was warm. I was running a fever. And so she recommended me to either go to the Mayo Clinic, which my sister works at, or this other hospital that was closer. And so we went to the hospital that was closer because she said the sooner the better. I maybe waited in the waiting room 10, 15 minutes before they brought me back and was like hooking me up to stuff,
Ooh, it looks like I lost my cousin. Can you guys still see me out there?
I don't know what happened. Sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
So yeah, when they were trying to give me an ultrasound, I was laying on the table, and it wasn't even like 5 minutes into it, my chest started like, I thought I was about to have a heart attack or something. And it was very scary for me because my dad, your uncle, my dad died of a massive heart attack. And I was just like really scared. I thought, I'm gonna die. And I didn't want to die. And then my mom had a heart due to stress a couple of years ago. And I was just like, oh God, I'm having a heart attack. And so they immediately got me out of there and they did a CT scan. And it's from the CT scan, they found that I was bleeding. I was like internally bleeding. And that's what was making me feel impacted and feeling like I severe constipation. So they're like, you're getting admitted tonight and you're gonna have to have emergency surgery. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how do I go from needing an enema basically to needing emergency surgery, right? So it was really crazy because this one crazy wackadoo nurse came in there and she was all, you're gonna have to have a hysterectomy, and I mean, just all this crazy stuff. And I was like freaking out. My mom happened to call me and I was just crying on the phone with my mom. And I was telling her I'm so broken right now. And she just prayed with me and it's like, it's going to be okay. And my sister came back there and she was with me. And then the doctor who was actually going to do the surgeon who's going to do the surgery, she came back and she's like, I told her what the nurses said. They went looking for this lady because it's like, they don't know who this lady was to this day. Don't know who she was. And she said she was absolutely wrong. It was a craziest experience having emergency surgery because COVID was they still have big COVID protocols. It looked like a post-apocalyptic type of scenario you find in the movie. It was just like really crazy, but they allowed my sister to come up there with me to help me prep for surgery, help me sign the paperwork. And, I let her know exactly what I wanted, which is important to have a good health advocate, someone who knows exactly what you want and can speak for you when you're, not in a place to speak for yourself. So that's really important. My family's very supportive of that. But I remember going into operating room. I have had surgeries before and I was good, but this one was different because the other surgeries were planned. This was like unplanned. And I remember having an anxiety attack when I started laying on the table, and they just, next thing you know, they gave me some good drugs and I was out. And then
that's the best part.
It was like 2.5 to 3 hours later. I thought it was like 10 to 15 minutes later, 30 minutes top. It was like, no, that's almost 3 hours later. I was very coherent because I have a high threshold for pain medications and stuff like that. And I was like, where's my sister? sister. Here's my sister. And they're like, she's at home. We had to send her home. I'm like, okay, well, what happened? And she's like, we had to remove your left ovary and your left fallopian tube because they were destroyed. You had a tumor and it exploded. And we pulled 1.5 liters of blood from your abdomen. And that's what was making you feel that you were constipated.
Cousin, you could have died.
Yeah, I was actually hours within dying. I like literally was hours within dying, and that's not a stretch of imagination. So like, if you would have waited, they said what probably would have happened is if I would have waited a couple of hours, I would have continued bleeding, and I probably would have just passed out and passed away in my sleep. And they wouldn't have known unless they decided to do like an autopsy, which, you know, a lot of family members, you know, a lot of people don't elect to do that because it can be costly and they don't want to dishonor, you know, the deceased or anything like that. But it was just like, whoa. So I was dealing with that, right? I was dealing with it. It was cool. It's like, I'm taking like a champ. I'm like, okay, I still got one ovary, still got one fallopian tube. God's still good. Okay, cool. I didn't even have a hysterectomy. Okay, great. And I'm sitting in the hospital bed and I was doing pretty good. I could only have like one person a day come visit me. And I was cool. But then I remember it was like a Wednesday or Thursday night or something. It was a Wednesday. I remember it was going into Wednesday or Wednesday night going to Thursday, something like that. I remember my body was feeling really weird and I knew something was wrong. And when I woke up, they were checking and they said my hemoglobin levels and blood levels had dropped and they were looking at possibly doing a blood transfusion. But they wanted to wait and see because I just had surgery and just to see with eating and throughout the course. So I went the course of the day, everything's looking good. Like, hey, great, congratulations, everything's up, you're good. You're probably gonna get ready to go home tonight. Woohoo, great. I remember it was about 4:15 in the afternoon. My nurse, who was wonderful, cool black nurse, Brooke, I love Brooke. She came in, hey, your doctor's on the phone. She wants to talk to you. I'm like, well, that's weird, but okay. Wasn't thinking anything of it. And she could stood in the room with me. And I'm like, I didn't think anything of it because she come talk with me and everything like that. And the doctor told me, Dr. who did surgery told me, so we got your pathology report back and you have cancer. You have ovarian cancer. And I'm like, well, I was cussing. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I know you effing lying.
I was too. I was too.
Like, I mean, it was all, what the? I know you effing lying. You know, the nurse went to she's like, let's close the door for some privacy for you. But she was still with me. But
please do.
I'll never forget that day. That was February 17th. I had surgery, emergency surgery, the night of February 15th. And by February 17th, 4:15 in the afternoon, that's when I found out I had ovarian cancer. And it's just crazy enough. My sister could sense something was going on because she was on her way. She had just picked up my mom from the airport because my mom flew back home from being with my grandmother at her scheduled time because I told her, she was like, oh, I can get emergency flight home. I'm like, I'll be fine. It's okay. You know, it's fine. We'll be fine. When they were on their way back to come pick me up, my sister she told my mom, she's like, something's wrong with Vanessa. I feel it. And she had my mom call like literally 15 minutes after I got done talking with my doctor. And I told them, they were on speakerphone, and that's when I had told them I had ovarian cancer and I was diagnosed. So it was really crazy. And then they told my brother, and it was just really crazy times. It was just life changed immediately,
girl,
very, very immediately.
And like when you told me, I was in such shock because cancer doesn't run in our family. And I feel like, and we definitely need to touch on this because looking back, my reaction to and all that unsolicited advice I gave you was just so terrible. Not knowing not knowing like what was like brewing inside of me, you know, and not really like, I remember you said, I just felt like everything was taken away from me and I didn't have a
Mhm.
choice, right? And
Mhm.
then when
Mhm.
I was like, "Well, cousin, just get a hysterectomy. Just tell them to take it all. Who cares? Kids aren't a big
Yeah.
deal. You can borrow
Yeah.
mine, right?" And then looking back, that's like literally that was like literally the worst advice I could
Yeah.
ever, give. And I think sometimes like we mean well,
Yeah.
but in situations like this, we should just pray and just be
Mhm.
there just to listen,
Yeah.
because a lot of times we think we're saying the right thing, but it's really
Mhm.
not. And then I remember you also had said,
Mhm.
and all the people telling me to get a hysterectomy, they have kids. And that was another one, just running off at the mouth,
Yeah.
like telling you the most
Yeah.
extreme things possible.
Girl, I didn't heard a lot. I mean, I heard a lot during that time from I mean, I understand, like, I was trying to, like, tell everybody, and make sure told, like, family and close friends,
Yeah,
especially friends that I knew that this could cause some trauma to, because they've dealt with other things and
right.
stuff recently. I was trying to manage that for everybody, which it was good and bad into that. But with that,
Yeah,
everybody, I think, goes into fight or flight mode, and they want to give you like what they think is the best sound advice as
right. But
possible.
it's not.
And
Yeah,
this is like, first I just need to sit with this first and
right,
foremost, and not make any rash decisions that it's going to be permanent, because you don't want to.
right.
I would say this. Let me back up and say this. First and foremost, for me, I did not blame God at all, like
Yeah,
110%, because I just knew
yeah.
that this is not God's plan for my life. Like, at the end of the
Same.
day, God was weeping with me, because this is not God's original purpose or plan for anybody to have to go through that. So I don't know how people believe, but we grew up in a very Christian family with faith, and I just never blamed God for that. Number
Yeah,
one. And I
me
remember
neither.
being in the hospital room by myself after got off the phone with my mom and my sister, and was just like, okay, I don't blame you, but I'm mad, not at
Right,
you, but at this
right,
situation. And
right.
I don't want to die, because I was at a point of, I just went through a lot of good things in my overcome a lot of big things in my life,
Yeah,
and I just want to do some more, and I have so many hopes and so many dreams, and I'm like, you grant the desires of people's hearts. So I want to live
yeah,
to see every desire fulfilled in my life, because I just feel like that
right,
hasn't happened yet, and I will be
right,
fighting everybody in heaven if you take me now. Like, for real, that's like
right.
legit. It's
Yeah,
like, and then I was screaming at my dad and my grandfather, and all any ancestors. I said, none of y'all so to show up in this room at I want to face. I'm not ready
girl.
to die or do that. So I bet my was really inward. Don't
Right.
need to see you. But I knew I had to tell people, I have to tell family and friends, because support, but also have to honor those who love you and who
Yeah,
support you. And I knew it was going to break everybody. And that's hard. But telling people stuff that was for you, I recognize that. It should be well. I want this. This is like one of the worst things that can happen to someone, right? So I know everybody's coming from a good place, but sometimes it can be a lot. Sometimes everybody's advice, they're going to give you.
cousin. Sorry, guys. I lost her. So while I'm waiting for Vanessa to come on, I see Brandy is on here, and we are praying for you. Um, and we're praying that everything works out the way it's supposed to, and just take it day by day, and you'll be able to get through it. Let me see where she's at. Please hold. Do I have any advice? So everything in the beginning, when I first found out about, hey cousin, I'm just answering Brandy's question. So when I first found out about my I can't see you.
I don't know what happened.
Your camera's off, cuz.
We were just talking beforehand before we went. Everything was. I don't know what happened. Let me see.
Your camera's off.
I believe you can.
Cousin, hold on. Let me answer Brandy. Let me answer Brandy. She just asked me, do I have any advice? Can you hear me? I don't think she can hear me. Okay, my bad, Brandy. So some advice I could give you would be just take it day by day. Everything moved really, really slow at first, and I was in a rush. I was like, well, what stage am I? What's this going to be like? What's that going to be like? And my doctors just weren't moving fast enough for me. But going back, everything was working out the way it was supposed to. So yeah, just take it day by day. If you're a believer, just lean into your faith. God definitely, I've definitely been leaning on him through this entire process. And like my cousin said, when you go to these doctor's appointments, make sure you always take somebody with you, because you're not in the right frame of mind, no matter how strong you think you are. I mean, there are times when I'm like, yeah, F cancer, I'm a thug, I got this. And then other times I was just like falling apart. But I definitely agree. Like when you go to these doctor's appointments, always have somebody with you, because your mind just starts wandering somewhere else, and your person will be there to say, hey, no, that's not what they said, or they said this, they said that. So always take somebody with you. And also always get second and third and fourth opinions. And if it doesn't feel right, that you don't have to do it. Like doctors can't force you to do anything that you don't want to do. And there's so many different treatments out there now. So don't feel pressured or rushed or just stressed to, take the first treatment that they offer you. I think, Vanessa, you had to change doctors, didn't you? In your process, right?
Yes. And I would just say this, we're talking that good stuff, because I'm like, I told my mom, I said, it's messy. She said, the devil is busy. I'm like, and the block is hot. So that's how good stuff is supposed to be happening right now. And we're supposed to be talking about this. But yeah, you have to fight for your care. The first advocate has to be you. It has to be you, and you have to surround yourself with people who are going to speak for you and support you when you're not in a mental or physical capacity to do so. I think that's really important. Also, getting a medical power of attorney, something especially with people we don't historically talk about or think about. That is so important, because that is a legal document telling the doctors, telling your family, this is what I want to have if someone goes right, whatever, and your voice. And it's so important that your voice is heard. If doctor is listening to your heart, because it's a very emotional experience, change doctors. They are not for you. Because I had a horrific experience. I was given an oncologist. So the hospital I went through is a really great hospital, but they put me in a hospital group for cancer patient. It was like the Virginia G. Piper. It's a whole network right here. I live in Arizona, so it's a whole network. They put me in the hood. No offense to the hood, but that's not where I lived. It was like 30 minutes away from where I was at. And they put me with a doctor that literally does not care about people. They don't care. She was just like, this, hysterectomy, when I didn't need to have a hysterectomy at all. And she was just trying to do things that I just wasn't well in my spirit, because you know your body better than anybody else, right? And I would say what I did for me is I did my research. They told me they thought I had stage 1C. I'm not sure said it was ovarian cancer, but I was going to have the second sister for staging to see if there was any spread, and what the cancer was, it would determine my type of treatment. So I immediately started doing my own research. I didn't even asking my sister who worked in the clinic. I would have a mind myself as to what was going to be my decision and what was working good for me. And I did a lot of good research from a lot of good sources. I think it's important to have validated sources, people done research and stuff can be very credible. And I prayed on it. And I knew what decision I need to make for my.
Right. You fell off. Please hold.
I don't know why he's cutting me out, cousin, but I'm here.
Cause maybe you need to move to your bed, because I feel like your signal's always better in your bed.
Okay, hold on. Maybe. Oh, she gets my room. Hold on. Hold on.
I think your signal's always better, but the devil is busy.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I said, the devil is busy and the block is hot. So there you go. It is what it is. So yeah, we'll try it there. I was like, well, my bed is cute. I was all trying to be YouTuber, like, I'm in the little background, whatever. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. That's where
I right. Do a lot of We're going through treatment.
Yeah, I do a lot of my Instagram lives or stuff like that from this spot. So there you go. But yeah, your body better than anybody else, but you want to do your research because you want to be sound. Because here's the thing is, you don't want to make any permanent decisions. And that's the thing. Don't. I'm like, Lord, if there's an option, if there's a possibility, I don't want it taken from me. And I don't want to just act out of fear and act out of haste, because this thing will make cancer will make a lot of fear come upon you really quick.
It really, really will. Quick.
And just so many things, because you just don't know. I mean, there's so many different variables and everybody just has a different response to it. And there's like so many different stories, it's just really hard. So, it'll make fear come upon you quick. But with that, you don't want to make a decision that's going to be permanent when you could have had when there was an option for you, another option for you. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that was the biggest thing. But my doctor was not hearing me on that. And I had my mom with me. I let her know, hey, this is not good. And I told her, this is why I don't want a hysterectomy, because it's not good for my mental health. It really was not good for my mental health to do that. My mental or emotional health, I wanted the option to be able to, not just only to be able to have kids myself, but also to be able to progress into womanhood and every stage of womanhood according to God's time for my life, and not just do that. And that's what was organic and authentic for me. For someone else, it might be different. And I applaud them for that if they truly seek that out. But I knew me. And this heifer here, let me tell you, she was like, I get that, Miss Newell. Yes, I totally understand that. Do you know she was still trying to mark me down for a hysterectomy all the way up until the day of my surgery?
I remember you told me that. Like they just weren't listening to you.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, even like to the point, like I had already signed papers that detailed what I was going to have and what I wasn't going to have. And a hysterectomy wasn't on there. But then the hospital had called me the day before my surgery just to make sure that I knew I was going to surgery. I was competent and capable of making my decisions. And they said, yeah, and you're having a hysterectomy. I'm like, no, I think not. And I had to go back and fight my doctors on that. Oh, no, they just got it incorrect. Blah, blah, blah. And then literally, mind you, 5 minutes before I'm going to be wheeled into surgery, my mom was there to say goodbye to me. She was like, now, are you sure you don't want a hysterectomy? Yes, I'm sure. I told you. And so then her assistant comes in, which he had a questionable political affiliation pin on him. So it already scared the mess out of me. And anyway, she told him, "This is Miss Newell, blah 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 blah." Yeah, well, and she rolled her eyes when she said she's chosen not to have a hysterectomy or whatever. And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" Me and my mom were like, "What the?" The anesthesiologist caught that, and he came over to me. He said, "I got you. Don't worry. It's nothing's going to happen to you. Yeah, I know you don't want that, and you signed your papers saying what you were having, what you weren't. I got you. Nothing's going to happen to you." And thankfully nothing happened to me. But this chick wouldn't listen to me up until even in recovery. Like when I was out of my surgery, she was still trying to tell my mom about it. Oh, I want her to have a hysterectomy. My mom's like, okay, is there anything wrong with her uterus? No, actually her uterus is perfect. Okay, then why does she need a hysterectomy? I mean, she was really trying to push this on me. And I was like, God, I know that's not what you wanted from me for sure. And it was just really bad care all the way around. So I had to end up, thankfully, again, because my sister works in pathology, she was thinking about seeing about if the pathologist at Mayo Clinic could help out, but they're so overloaded with so many different things because of COVID affecting stuff. She was just like, Cancer Center Treatment of America, that's in our network, that we get a lot of people who want to go over there, or they need a second opinion from us. And so they recommended me over there, and it's made a world of a difference. I mean, the care, when I walked in that place, I felt such a peace over me. Like, I was like, God, just by any means necessary, please get me in here. And when I got there, from the very beginning, they did a video conference with me. Let me tell you, they gave me the results of my surgery before my doctor did. And guess what? I was waiting like for 2.5 weeks for the results of my staging surgery. And I had to get that from my new doctors coming in, because the other ones, and let me tell you, once I began care under Cancer Treatment Center, it was like almost a month after my surgery, the doctor's office, the old oncologist office, wanted to call me saying, "Oh, hey, Vanessa, we got to give you the results of your surgery." I'm like, I already have the results, and I'm with a different team. I already called and told y'all that. It was crazy. And then this doctor tried to harass me still. Like, literally, I was a month into treatment, and she called me on her cell phone, and she was just like, left me a nasty voicemail. Like, really
not
nasty.
the doctor's office.
The oncologist. Girl, I called, and they're already in trouble with the social worker at the hospital, because you know they have to come, you know, they talk to you about your care and everything. But yeah, it was a mess. It was a trip. It was just a total trip. Well,
no. So our is on here. Hey, Tabby girl.
Hey, Tab.
Either of you tried any of them to cope throughout the process? If so, what type of therapy did you find it was helpful? So I have been in therapy. I literally went probably 2 weeks after I started treatment. Like, this is such a roller coaster. Like, I feel like some weeks I'm like, hell yeah, I got this. I'm a warrior, and this, like, I got this, right? And then there's weeks where I'm like, oh God, why me, Lord? I don't want to die, right? So I just like immediately started counseling with my hospital. So the place I'm doing my treatment through, they kind of pushed on me, but I feel like it was meant to be like that. I've had a really good experience up until lately, when some decisions I really didn't want were kind of pushed on. But the counseling was just so helpful. I usually go like once a month to get my little tune up, just to, you know, talk through, you know, how I'm feeling. My family, they've been so supportive, and my mom, sisters, my friends, my dad, like, I call them crying and stuff, but sometimes you get tired of like hurting your family with your tears and, you know, everything that's going on with you. And I think it's always good to have like somebody who doesn't you, who has an like unbiased opinion about like what's going on. And, you know, just counseling has just been like a godsend. So I definitely recommend, and even any life change wedding, job
Mhm.
change, a move, a death, I definitely recommend counseling,
Mhm.
just to help you get through, the process. And sometimes you just need a good cry. You
Yeah.
just need a good cry and to be able to let it all out. I
Yeah.
definitely.
I haven't gone to counseling yet. So here is why. Here is why. It's because I was going through so much physical healing too. There's like everything that was happening at one time. So mind you, I had
Yeah,
emergency surgery. I had to heal enough
yeah,
just to be able to have staging surgery. Right before staging surgery, I had like a barrage of CT exams and where they're shooting you up with all this being poked and prodded. Like literally every week was like blood test, blood test, blood test. My veins
yeah,
are very small and roll and
yeah,
it's very painful for me. And I was just trying to physically heal to a certain point and also still trying to mentally deal with stuff. So it was really hard. Also with me, I was officially diagnosed with stage 1C ovarian cancer. So that basically meant that I had different options for treatment. And
yeah.
so one of the options I did because I wanted to I didn't want to do chemo if it was possible. Like I would thug it out, and I think you're amazing because for doing that because I would thug it out if
Chemo
I
is
had to.
raggedy,
But
raggedy.
but but here's the thing. I'm like, God, if there's any other way I can go through
Yeah,
this, the treatment, please let there be another option. So when I had my doctor, who I have a black doctor, let me tell you, which makes a difference sometimes when you have a doctor who's kind of
yeah,
relatable to you and some stuff. But
yeah,
he's literally one of the best in the state too. But he told me, he's like, you're gonna have to do some type of treatment. You're gonna have to do treatment. And he's like,
yeah,
we do of course, chemotherapy is one that's recommended. It's the most popular. And I was just like, because I didn't want to have to deal with the port and everything and stuff like that. But I would do
Where's
it if I had
mom?
to. But Sam told me to ask him, is there any other way? And is there another option? And he's like, actually, there is. I'm like, hmm.
Yeah,
And so my treatment is a pill form called letrozole. And it's a pill they also give to breast cancer patients actually sometime in their treatment
yeah,
plan. And it's a bit of a hormone blocker and it's another alternative, but it was not easy going through that. It's different in the fact that I don't have to go into the center to
hmm,
have it administered. I do it at home, but you kind of lose support with that.
yeah,
Like we were talking beforehand, it was kind of hard because I don't have anybody around me that understands what I'm really going
right,
through. I don't have any friends who've actually gone through this. I'm like the first of
right.
my friends, and really the first of my family on
Same.
either side of the family that's dealt with ovarian cancer. People aren't really
Yeah,
familiar with
same,
it. So it was
same.
really, really tough. And I highly recommend therapy. I'm going to do it again, hopefully in 2023 sometime because I definitely need it. But I've done it before, after my dad had died, I went to grief counseling. It was very useful.
Yeah,
I used a lot of those tools that I used in grief counseling for this too, because you do go through certain stages of grief with this. But also prior to this diagnosis and going into 2020, 2019, I just went to therapy just to be a better me, like to get over
right.
certain humps, to, I'm a single person, understanding why I hated dating so much and
Yeah,
getting through different relationship things. So I was like feeling gung ho and stuff. But my therapist for that is not, she can't help me with this, right? And
yeah,
so it's a journey trying to find the right therapist that's going to be a good fit
it
for
is.
you. And honestly,
Yeah,
I just didn't have the energy to do it,
yeah.
and just to
No,
do like
absolutely.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, it literally is a new relationship when you're finding the
It
proper
is.
therapist that works good for you.
Yeah,
And I just
yeah,
didn't have the energy to do
yeah.
it.
These treatments definitely like zap all the energy from you.
Mhm.
I know at first, chemo, it's progressive. So like you start off, you're like, or I can't see, yeah, I got this. And then you slowly just kind of like going downhill as far as like your energy level and stuff. Just
Mhm.
thankfully, the counselor I had was a part of the network. And
Mm.
you definitely want a counselor who deals with like cancer
Mm.
because you, like you said, you just can't pick any counselor who has no experience whatsoever,
Yeah.
in this kind of field, because it is, definitely one of a kind for
Yeah.
sure. How has
Yeah.
it been? How has it been being a single person, going through this process? I know me, it's been, and we talked about this a little bit before. I was like, dang, like, I love the fact, like, that I have, my husband and my daughter, but
Mm-hmm.
some days I just want to lay in bed and just cry and eat and just get my chemo pee, but I'm not able to because my
Mm-hmm.
daughter wants to go, and I have to do this and that. And sometimes it's like, damn, Vanessa's lucky, in some
Yeah.
aspects, that you're
Yeah.
able to, focus on yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
um, just how has that been for you?
Well, it has its ups and its downs. I think every
Yeah,
experience does. On one hand, it's nice when you just want to cry by yourself or you just want to be by
right.
yourself and you get to have some time by yourself. I'm not by myself because I live with my mom and my sister, so the support has been great.
Man,
But other
you have
times
the best support. You basically have like a nursing staff
I
at your
do.
house.
And I'm
Or
so grateful for that. I'm like so extremely grateful for that.
I'm
But
like,
if I'm
move
being
over.
honest though, I am a human being. I am a
Yeah,
woman. And sometimes you
yeah.
just want to be held.
Mhm.
And you just want to be in and just to have that security of a loving partner would be really great. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of times I've sat in my bed crying because I don't have that. And
Cousin.
these are the times in life that you want that support, different things. I
Yeah,
can recall different times where, you know, I mean, like I say, I have support with my mom and my sister. I have unconditional love with like my brother and stuff like that. And that's great.
right.
But it's a different type of love. You know what I mean? It's a different type of
Yeah,
support. And
yeah.
there's a lot of things you think about, like with being single. It's like, okay, well, um how am I going to get back into the dating pool? How are men going to view
Yeah,
me now? You know what I
yeah,
mean? There's like so many different
yeah,
things that go into it that can cause like a
yeah,
great big deal of anxiety. But
yeah.
a lot of times I just want to be held. I would love to
Oh,
have that partner, that man, the husband or whatever, just a boyfriend at this point, just to be there, just
cousin.
to, and just to do the simple things. I just need to be
Yeah,
held while I'm watching a movie or I'm playing a game on my phone or something. Or it doesn't have to
right,
be anything big because I don't require a lot. I'm really big on connecting with energy, but to
right,
be able to connect with someone and to be in that intimate space with someone through one of the worst seasons of your life is a beautiful thing.
right.
And I don't have that. And you just, and I know it's work. I mean, obviously relationships will work, definitely.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's also the upside to being in a relationship with someone that you found
yeah,
connection, love, partnership, they're your spouse or whatever. That's the beautiful side of it, that you have someone that's going to support you. God willing,
yeah,
you have that's going to support you
right,
unconditionally and just love you through this situation. And so it can be
right.
very lonely. And I think it just magnified how single I
Cousin.
really am. Like
Oh
honestly.
my God.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, dang, like I really, because my husband, you've met my husband. He
Mm-hmm.
is and tough and let's figure it out. Okay, what's next? And this and
Mm-hmm.
that. Like he's not emotional at all, but he's been like really supportive as far as me allowing me to have my space to just like go through this. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
sitting here like, oh, I'm gonna go hug him because hearing you say
Yeah.
that, I'm like, I can take people for granted while
Yeah.
you're going through, your
Yeah.
space. Even like we were talking before, and going back to making sure your voice heard, it was very important for me to keep my everybody. I just got a bilaterosectomy. I got my implants, and I wanted to keep. This is probably TMI, but I wanted to keep my nipple because now I'm 36, but I didn't. It was just
Yeah.
small, but for me it was huge, and I wanted to keep my nipple. I told my surgeon this from the beginning, and she was like, oh, there's no she's like, well, like there's any cancer in the nipple, so, and this is back in August, she's like, so we can nipple sparing surgery. I'm like, okay. So we get to about 5 days before my surgery, she just on me, she was like, "Oh, so we're just gonna take both of them because there is girl, both of them,
Both of them.
Vanessa. Yeah." She's
I'm
like, "We're
like,
just
you're
gonna
gonna
take
have to
both
give
of
me
them."
a nippleectomy or somewhere, a donor nipple or
Girl,
something.
yeah, and like when you have a mastectomy, you are lose all the filling in your breast anyway. So it's really just for aesthetic purposes because like you don't feel anything. But she just sprung it on me, right? And I cried and I cried. I called my mom, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be a one nipple chick or have no nipples." Like I really had a hard time dealing with it. So, anyways, like I've been really fortunate with my surgeons and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, but if they're saying it's in there, I'm going through this one time. Like I'm not parents, like this is it. So let me just go ahead and do it. So the day of my plastic, I was telling my plastic surgeon and he was like, okay, so we're going to leave your nipple and your areola on your right side because this isn't the head of cancer. And on your left, leave your areola, but we'll just take your nipple. And then I'll make you a new one. I'm like, okay, I get with it. The pathology report comes back and my nipple came back benign.
Did it have to take it?
No. And we're not talking about hair. It's gonna grow back.
Irreversible things.
Girl, we're talking about that. And when I tell you, so then fast forward, they wanted to have she wanted to go back in and take my lymph nodes. And I was like, we have a conversation because I'm tired of giving up body parts that don't need to be given up, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
I
understand. You have to fight for that because like when they had to take lymph nodes to test and just see about fear spread and see what stage I was in. It's not easy getting your lymph nodes put, and the lymph nodes where they pulled them from were on my abdomen in that area, right? When I tell you, I think she purposely pierced me down because I was looking like a freaking pea. I was looking like the living a living reincarnation of illustrated sermon of Jesus being pierced in the side. Girl, it was deep. I was like, oh my God, I'm concave. There was and I have all these scars on my abdomen. I'll show you one day. I have all these scars on my abdomen. And I'm just like, okay, so am I going to get a tattoo? Am I going to get like what am I going to do? Because it's not easy. And it was very painful.
Yeah.
And it's just not like, oh, just get this done. Oh, just get this out. It's like, it's painful. It's not as easy as people think it is. But, so I get where you're coming from. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
No, Vanessa, it's so bad. And then going back to like my relationship, I'm like, this was probably like last week. I'm like, thank God I'm married because I'm a nipple chick at this point. After chemo, my ovaries are shot. So I can't give nobody else babies. I'm already going through menopause. I got my fans. I'm about to be on the medication for another year and stuff. And I couldn't imagine having to explain to somebody all the stuff that I've been. I don't want to,
Yeah.
So
I'm
girl, 2023, we're gonna pray that God gives you a man,
girl,
who is
it's a good one. A really good one, like top tier, like all the things.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I deserve it. At this point, I'm like,
you definitely
deserve it. I mean, all these things I want and more. And it is hard because being single stuff, but dating nowadays is extremely hard.
Imagine.
It's
I couldn't imagine.
I'm like, girl, I didn't want to date for a long time because I was mishandled so much. That is why I went to therapy. That's why I was in this relationship group. And man, my therapist for that, she was a godsend. Like literally she was. And I got my therapy sessions for free on top of that because I knew that was God.
So nice.
Like, girl, you need healing in that area because I got somebody really great for you. So I'm like, yeah, girl. I done went through like almost 10 months of therapy, right? Then releasing things I didn't realize I had held. I'm like, I'm trying to be not perfect, because you're never going to be perfect. No one is. But
Right.
be the perfect partner for the right person. You know what I'm saying? And just being
Right.
open. So I was like, yeah, things are good. I just got back from Atlanta. I saw you in that January because I went to Atlanta with the group
Oh
that I work with.
yeah.
We had that awards out in Atlanta, and I was traveling, doing
That
things.
last year?
That was January 6th and stuff. I was in
Girl,
Atlanta.
who
I had
would have
people calling
thought?
you. It was
Who would
like
have
literally
thought the
a
rest of
month later.
2022 would have went?
Downhill.
We were
Like,
eating pizza, just
yo,
chilling. Who would have thought that
I didn't know that was festering up inside of me the whole time.
you
Like,
you I never done
girl,
a breast I never breast exam in my
right.
entire life.
Yeah.
Ever. If you take away anything from this, your privacy and do your monthly breast exams, because neither,
Girl,
yes, it will
I
save
went to
your
go
life.
check it myself. I kind of do it already, but just preventative. But I was like even more so on everything. And
Yeah.
just with this, I was like, what is this? And they're like, oh no, that's just pleurisy or something. I'm doing my lymph node massages, right? Because it's very important to keep your lymph nodes clear and stuff. But it just makes you so
Yeah.
fearful for stuff. But like I said, I was striding into 2022, like, okay, let's get this dating on. We about to at least get in a good quality relationship. And then God was like, hold on. You got something else.
Because when God sits you down, you got a choice but to sit down and listen.
Yeah.
And heed what he has to say.
Yeah.
Because baby, I don't think either one of us expected this. Again, it doesn't run in our family.
Nope.
I know, like you said earlier, you're like the first one of your friends. I'm the first one of like my friends, you know, to like go through this. And I'm just so proud of us both first of all, because you've been vocal from like the very start. And I know you haven't, because I was like keeping it on the low. And I was like, my dad was like, Shauna, you got to tell the family. You can't keep it secret forever. And I was like, fine, dad, or whatever. But I just admire the way you like been so vocal, because you don't know who you're inspiring to check out, you know, to go to the hospital, to know like, yeah, like people look at your life or anybody's life and it looks perfect and stuff, but you have no idea what they're going through. You're on social media all the time. So I just definitely admire the way you've been so vocal, because it definitely inspired me to like want to say something, because I feel like we have responsibility, especially as young Black women, when we're already in what healthcare system is already against us, right?
I mean, medical racism is very real. I want people to realize that, like, medical racism, medical apartheid, that is very real. Which is another reason why you have to have an advocate. It's good to have like a medical power attorney in place. I mean, a will even. I mean, those aren't fun and sexy topics to talk about, but
we need to discuss them.
It's necessary. I mean, honestly, it's necessary, because there are people that literally mean you no good just based off of the color of your skin, based off of your gender. And you have to be willing to fight for yourself and have a team that will like fight for you. Because let me tell you something, is I have on my medical power of attorney is my mom, my sister, my brother. They know exactly what I want, what I don't want. If anything were to happen, right? So, and they will fight people like literally verbally, and if it needs to.
Especially Auntie, especially all of them. But Auntie and April, they crazy. They gonna get them together.
Yeah. And so here's the thing is that what people don't realize, I'm the only one in my family that doesn't have some type of medical background. See, my brother is a trained EMT as well, because he was training to become a firefighter, but that didn't work out, you know, with budgets and everything. And my sister, like I said, she works in the medical field. She actually helps to test cancer tissue for pathologists who works in a pathology lab, and she's also a nurse. She went to nursing school and she has a degree in molecular cellular biology. So there's that. My mom, she's basically a nurse. She worked in the nursing home field for many years, most of my life. So I mean, these people know that they know CPR, they know how to bandage stuff, they know wound care. I mean, I have at-home nursing care, so it's all good, you
Right.
know what I mean? So I'm very blessed with that. But aside for that, they know to fight for me. They know what I want, and I know me well enough that I've made a sound decision for myself.
Right.
And that was really important. And my mom was saying that even with wanting to tell people, she was like, she prayed about it, and she was like, "No, this is your story to tell."
Right.
And I let them know. I said, I couldn't tell everybody. I couldn't tell every family member myself by myself, because
Right.
it was too much. It was too exhausting, especially
It's
being
hard
diagnosed.
emotionally.
It's just, I mean,
It's too much.
you don't know how people are going to react. Like, I remember when my dad passed away unexpectedly, and I call people, I call my family members to let them know. Girl, some of the reactions I got, oh God, no. I was like, okay, I can't deal with that with everybody. So
Right.
strategically, I would tell my mom and my sister, I would say, hey, can you tell these certain family members? Can you tell them this?
Right.
Because I just don't have the strength to absorb how they're going to react. And I'm not saying they don't have a right to react, because they have a right
Right.
to feel and react. Especially, I couldn't tell my uncles, like my dad's brothers. I couldn't tell my cousins directly, because that would have really broken me a lot, because they've been like my extension of my dad, especially my dad's oldest brother. And they lost my cousin about 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. He passed away unexpectedly. He was the first
Yeah.
one of our first cousins on my dad's side to pass away, and that was just really hard.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it. I knew I couldn't tell them. So
Right.
everybody else, I was like trying to, like you and other family
Yeah.
members and stuff I knew, and friends, I could get them on the phone. I gave myself like maybe 2 weeks before
Yeah.
I unloaded on. I just like, you know what? It's easier just to tell everybody via social media. I'm
Right.
like, I'm like,
No,
if
I
I didn't call
understand
you
that.
directly, don't take offense. I don't have the energy to go around and telling everybody
Well,
directly,
it's
to
crazy.
do it.
It's hard because you tell somebody and then you have to manage their emotions and like reassure them it's gonna be okay
Mm-hmm.
in a situation where you really the one that needs the assurance, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my counselor told me, she was like, actually, it's not fair. In this moment, you're being vulnerable and sharing your news, and then they're crying, so you're trying to call them, and it really should be the other way around. And
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
handbook on how to like deal with this. Trust again. I know the only reason why I learned is because I had to go through it myself, which is why I'm like, ugh, my bad. Cause yeah, so it's definitely tough.
Yeah.
I really admire the way you've been like just been so vocal, because it inspired me to like say things, because I was just gonna keep it on the
Yeah.
low. And I feel like the way we kind of grew up, just kind of like you don't talk about these things and you
Yeah.
just, go through it quietly, but
Yeah.
like how you're helping somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Well, I
Especially
mean, I just uh, it's like this, right? I don't know. I prayed about it a lot, and just be like, okay, God, what you want me to do with this? Like, how do I go about dealing with this and telling people? And do I keep it silent? Do I do the kind of how we grew up, kind of like the Color Purple way?
right,
Don't tell nobody but God,
right,
No, anything, you know what I mean?
right. Yeah, no,
Very
I get it.
Southern approach to it. But at the same time, it's kind of like you're giving that thing power by being
Right.
silent.
No,
And the
I get
thing about it is you can't let it have any type of power, because you're the one that has the power. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
you have to speak life into yourself. You have to speak life into the situation. And you just have to be honest to, like, people want to support people, but they don't
they
know how to
do.
support people if you are
Right.
silent. And there's so many
That's true.
people that suffer in silence for like
Right.
so many different things. And I'm not going to say even after I told people it hasn't been lonely. I mean, I've told friends, and I understand life has to go on, but sometimes I feel like people forget about me in life, and it's been very lonely in a sense,
Mm,
because I can't do the things that I could do before.
Right.
I can't even drive right now because of the different medications
You
and
can
treatments
try.
I'm on. Mm-mm, can't drive. So
That's frustrating.
it's very frustrating. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like everything's was being taken from me. Like literally
Right.
everything was being taken from me. I still was working my job um from home because I was like, okay, this has a little bit of semblance of me still, but it was very
Yeah.
hard. But legally, they have to give me the time that I need because I'm a protected
Right.
class now. Okay,
Right.
shout out to this
Right.
disability laws. Um, so now I'm a protected class, so they have to give me what I need. But and I don't take advantage. I don't take advantage of the rules. I honor the rules, but I'm also honoring my body and I'm also vocal with what I need. And I tell my boss, like, I can't do this today. I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad reaction to my treatment. It's not a good
Right.
day. Mentally, it's not good. And they have to give me that time, but I honor the time when I am feeling good by operating in integrity. But me not practicing early on, letting people know where I'm at and what's going on, that gave me the courage to be able to tell people, like even on my job, to be able to say, hey, I'm not having a good day, and not to feel
Yeah.
guilty about it when I can't work a
Right.
certain day, or I can only check
Right.
emails. I can't talk to this
Right.
client today. I can't do
Right.
this. Um,
Right.
so it helped me in that sense. In a sense also too, it helped me to gain my voice back. I felt a lot of things had taken my voice in a lot of different avenues, and to really articulate what I need. Like I had a situation like literally 2 weeks after I was diagnosed and had that emergency surgery where I lost a big client because I was working as a recruiter, and it was a joint deal, and it was like $15,000 I lost out on because this guy decided to take a job with Tesla and not with the client that we had. And I was just like, okay, once again, here's another thing that's being taken from me. And
Right.
I remember
Right.
crying and coming out my room, telling my mom and just sobbing and crying. And she was like, well, at least you had this. I said, Mom, I stopped her. I said, Mom,
Not.
I
Yeah.
can't do at least, because you know what?
Right.
I've been operating at the least for such a
Right.
long time in my whole life.
Right.
I just need to sit in this and be upset and cry.
Right.
That's what I need to do.
Right.
And then
Right.
I'll figure it out and we'll move forward. And you know what? She listened to that because I didn't yell at
Right.
her. I didn't, I was just able to articulate that and voice that. And I could say, even though I can be outspoken, some things I'm not when it comes to my own self. I can be outspoken like for
Yeah.
other people, but rarely
Right.
am I really, really outspoken for myself. Sometimes I become very introverted and just
Right.
kind of like try to deal with it on my own, which is never good
Right.
because again, that's suffering in silence. But when
Right.
you are vocal and you invite people into that space and let them know what you're going through, you're also inviting them to help support you and help care for you, especially in those
Right.
days where you can't carry yourself and you need people to
Right.
carry you. So yeah,
Right.
it's also important to do, those reasons to do that. So
Yeah. Well, you just dropped the word, cuz. You just dropped the word, cuz.
I'm just living
Well,
life. I'm just telling you what I know, how I know, because
baby,
people don't know.
okay, be dropping the gems. So I think moving forward, we might have to like maybe do this monthly or something.
Yeah.
Maybe get some guests.
Mm-hmm. That would be good. I would be down for that. I know there was a lady on here earlier, Brandy. She said, I think she just told her girls tonight.
Yeah,
She says, and you two are
she said
busy. So
her husband's going to be going with her.
mm.
And she told her girls tonight.
Oh, well, God bless you, Brandy, on that. I mean,
It's
that's
tough.
not easy. And I would say again, that's one thing I am, if I have to be grateful for something, that even though I want kids and I'm grateful that I don't have kids right now too, at the
Yeah.
same time, to explain that to them. Because I am glad I didn't have to tell my nieces, like all of them. I'm
Yeah.
so glad. It was already hard enough, like for my to hear that my brother, um, it was hard for him and he had cried for a while. And then for him to tell his family, his wife, my sister-in-law, and my
Yeah.
two nieces, I tell my other niece, well, I consider her my niece, Destiny, to get on
Yeah.
the phone, she knew I was in the hospital and she was ready. She was in high school. This happened during her senior year of high school, right? So all she
Um,
knows is me like being active auntie, right? And she was ready to come and bring her books and come spend time with me down the hospital before the diagnosis. They're like, no, stay in school, do what you need to do.
right.
But it was very hard to tell her and her mom about
Yeah.
this. So, and I wanted to make sure her mom was there to support her through this, but
Yeah.
it was hard. And I'm glad I told her over the phone and I didn't have to see her in person, because
No, it
that would have just
definitely
broken me down a lot,
yeah.
so I'm grateful I
I
don't have kids right now for that. So,
because my daughter's only 5. Well, she's gonna be 6, and
mhm,
she's really, really smart, and
she
she's
is.
very busy.
Mhm,
So, but I wanted to keep her life as normal as possible. Even my stepdaughters, was doing my best to like try to show them that, but
mhm,
kids aren't dumb. They know something's going on, and was it when right after my surgery, I had drains in, and
mhm.
I don't know what happened, but I clogged my drain up and my boob just started filling up with blood. It was so
Mm,
bad of it. I almost like passed out. And my best
mhm,
friend was here, so she was able to unclog it. And I was like laying on the floor and I just like had my shirt open and like I couldn't hide it from my daughter in that moment because I'd been telling her it was my ankle. And she was like,
oh,
what's going on? Like you're gonna stop lying to me. And so I had to like tell her, but with
yeah,
kids, again, with counseling, they teach you ways to like tell your kids when they're
mhm,
younger that they're not like worried, or whatever.
yeah,
So I was just like,
yeah,
mommy had a bad spot, but it's okay now and stuff. So it's definitely tough telling the
yeah,
kids, and even the older ones are upset
mhm,
with me for a little bit because people do want to be there to support you. And
they
sometimes
do,
you are hurting them or more
mhm,
than the key things from them. And I swear, once I was able just to like tired of lying to people about it, and
mhm,
like you said, like don't or I'm not in the mood or I don't feel like smiling today. I don't want to have to lie about it. Like I was just like, oh
mhm,
yeah, I'm going through chemo. Oh, I'm at chemo. Oh, I'm at breast cancer. They're like, oh, and then people are so understanding and
yeah.
empathetic, and they really will be for you. So I'm definitely like, you inspired me. It took me forever, but you
It's
definitely
good though.
inspired me to say something because my
Yeah,
life got so much easier than trying to like, because I was really running around here hiding and like
yeah. I'm
trying
like,
to like
don't
keep it on the
hide. I mean, I
low.
understand.
Just
I
keep
mean,
it
I
on the
understood
low.
because people do kind of like unload their trauma on you too when
Yeah.
you realize when you're going through stuff that there's a lot of people that are unhealed from traumas and dramas and things they've gone through. And when something of this magnitude happens to them because they care, but they genuinely care about you,
Yeah.
sometimes they
Yeah.
can trauma dump on you unknowingly. And it's a lot. So I could definitely understand that side of like not wanting to like share with everybody because it's like, okay, I don't
Yeah.
know who's gonna like trauma dump on me or whatever. And I just don't,
Yeah.
it's
I
not that I
know.
don't care. It's just that I'm not at the
Yeah.
mental or physical or emotional capacity to really assist them with that and to process that.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't want to rob them of the opportunity to grow as a person, but also to support
Yeah.
you, because at
Right.
the end of the day, they genuinely care, but it can be a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I can.
It's hard because some of my friends, I think I don't realize it's hard for them. And that's why some have kept a distance from me. Because it can be very hard for them. I know sometimes they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so busy and this, that, whatever. And they are, they can be busy, but
Yeah.
I also think the other side of it, and they don't want to trauma dump on me, or they're maybe just processing things in their life, is that
Yeah.
um it's sad, it's hard. They don't want to, they're used to see me vibrant. See, everybody's
Yeah.
used to see me like run around, traveling
Super
here, there, everywhere,
positive.
doing like five or
Yeah.
six jobs of something all
Yeah.
the time. They're not used to seeing me
Cooking.
down, and I
Yeah.
use a walker. I have to use a walker to help get around. So, they're not used to seeing me with that.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of things. I don't, carry on the cute purses anymore. I have a backpack full of stuff that I have to.
Girl, I've
This is
been
the
carrying a
most
backpack.
sexy season of my life. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you that.
Like but it's only a season though,
Yes.
and it's coming to an end. I feel like this is it. 2020.
Look,
It.
I'm just like when that meme that's going around and says with the phone like "Hello, God." I'm just checking this to make sure I'm not on the strong soldiers list
Girl,
for 2023. I'm like, pick somebody
I'm like,
else.
take me off. I'm good. I'm here, Lord. I'm paying.
I
I'm
served
like, I'm
my
paying my
time.
tithes, girl. I'm paying tithes and everything. I said, Lord, you done got me
I'm like,
together.
God, I didn't blame you at all for this. I like
At
literally
all.
never blamed God at all for this. I'm like, Lord, I did not
No.
blame you at all. Now we'll
Yeah.
have to talk another time of I did have other spiritual feelings of other stuff. So we'll have to talk about that another time because it really has been a lot of growth. But I mean, like I said, I did not blame God. I will say this. I didn't blame God, but I was very proud of the faith that I did have because you need something to anchor yourself
You
and to
sure
hold
do.
on to help
Right.
get through this. And man, I was telling my brother, I was like, dude, how come every hymn I didn't grown up with was suddenly coming to mind? Every gospel
Literally.
song that I could think of, from Rance Allen to John P. Key to
Okay,
Kirk Franklin to what's that?
girl.
Adams, with all the, I'm just like
We fall
everything,
down, we give up. I just
you
can't up
know,
now.
just
Just a
everything.
closer walk with thee.
I'm like, Lord, I'm trying to make it to 100 because 99 and a half won't do. Just
Literally.
all
Yeah.
these things, anything Fred Hammond, all this stuff. I was like,
Right.
it was all
Right.
coming to mind and coming to stuff. But I mean, it's important because you need something to anchor yourself to because you will float away and you will not
Yeah.
have a sense of yourself. So I was really
Yeah.
proud of the work that I had done because prior to this happening, and even like with my dad passing away, like it'll be almost 10 years next year,
I cannot
right?
believe it's been that long. It
Yeah,
doesn't feel like it.
it
It feels
really
like just happened. To
it really
me, anyway.
doesn't. And it's such a
Yeah.
weird experience, but even connecting back to that and having my faith in that and how I grew from that and how I use therapy to help me with that. It helped me for this season in my life. And just really gave me a will to survive and want to fight. Like immediately, I want to fight. I wanted to fight immediately. Like I didn't blame God, and I was like, "I'm God. If you take me now, I'm promise you, I'm gonna be fighting everybody in heaven. My soul will not be at rest. Choose somebody else for this. I ain't playing with y'all right now. I am not ready to
Right.
go. Low
Right.
key, haha, not really. And my mom, when she saw me, um, after she came that night, I was diagnosed. She was looking at me and she's like, "How are you feeling?" I say, "I want to fight." And she's like, "Good answer."
Right.
That's what she said. That's all I
Oh.
needed to hear. That's all I
Oh.
needed to hear.
Because we
So
heard shaking her head.
yeah, yeah. I said, pray, do whatever you got to do, but I'm ready to fight. This is what it is. I know
Right.
God didn't put this on me. I know this really makes God's heart cry for me
Right.
having this. But at the same time, it's truly God knows how much we can bear, even though it really sucks, even though it's extremely painful. And it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, bruh, why? Like, you can do
Yeah.
this to somebody. I'm like, I'm not a bad person. I haven't done
Girl.
anything
But
that
then cancer
crazy in
don't
life.
care.
I try to be
Girl, cancer
decent.
don't care.
you know?
No, say it. But like the way, God's given us the strength to handle it,
Mm-hmm.
I know we can't handle it, even though it's raggedy. There's some people in my life, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way
Yeah.
they could go through this and still keep their head held high. Some days it's harder than others, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and also
I don't
to
think
think of this is that it's amazing, even though it's crazy and it sucks. You have to know it's God's plan for us to be going through this at the same time and together. You know what I'm saying?
but let me tell y'all something. You giving advice, people. You better be ready to take it yourself, because I had
That
no,
part.
I'm sitting up here, I was giving you advice. I remember you was like, cousin, I don't want to die. I'm like, girl, you ain't gonna die. You're fine. And then literally 3 to 4 months later, I don't want to die.
And I'm like, you're not
Oh
gonna
my God,
die.
I don't want to die. There's so that I want to do and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, baby, let me tell you something. It is so easy to give advice and to look at somebody's situation and be like, dang, that really, really, sucks and stuff, that it could be you too. So,
Yeah.
be mindful. But yeah, no, it's crazy for this at the same time. But
Yeah.
we'll be rich this year or something, because it just doesn't make.
I'm like, dude, can we win the Mega Millions? Can we win the Powerball?
Seriously.
I mean, just you know what? You never know what's gonna come from this. Okay, maybe somebody brand deal. I don't know.
Something.
I mean, if you want to bless us in that capacity, I'm not gonna limit or hinder. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No,
I'm welcome.
Serious.
I'm open. Hands open to it all. So I'm good.
Okay, because then you have to start posting more. So I'm gonna edit this video up, and I'll edit it and then send it over to you so you can upload it to your channel.
Yes, I will be posting more. Thank you for my camera too. I
did it come yet?
You did come. Yes,
it did nice.
Come. It came today.
You have to get an S card. Oh, did it? Nice.
Yes, I'm gonna get a SD card for it for sure. I was like, you know what? I would say thank you for that and this for as well, because I've been knowing for a minute, like been feeling, people been telling me you need to do like a YouTube, you need to do something. I just didn't know what, because I didn't want to be cliche or I just didn't feel like I had a voice or anything. And people tell me, no, you have like a distinctive voice and you need to do something and blah blah blah. And and I'm a co-host of a podcast called the Hip Hop Rewind, which let me tell you about. And let me just tell you that now that one's not a Christian podcast. We believe in the Lord, but let me tell you, people be cussing on that one. So I'm just gonna let y'all know.
On what is it on? Apple or
it's everywhere you get your podcast. So that's Apple, Deezer, Spotify. Anywhere you get your podcast, literally we're there. We're like on 14 different outlets, but it's like if you look over the Hip Hop Rewind or Power of Influence, the Hip Hop Rewind, we got 29 episodes up there. I mean, we got episodes. Yeah, we've done, and it's a blessing, because this was something I wasn't seeking out. It sought me. And let me tell you, it was on my vision board in 2021 and 22 was I just felt in my spirit, you need to start a podcast and a YouTube channel. And I didn't know how that was going to happen, what I was going to do. So I was on Clubhouse. Let me tell you some story. My friend had got me on the Clubhouse, and I was with this group. And then a friend I met on Clubhouse, he pinged me into this room, and it was the Power of Influence with this guy, Jerry, who's now my co-host. And I was just giving some insight. He wanted my opinion on some things. There's like only like maybe 5 or 6 of us in that room. I didn't know who Jerry was, but it was cool vibes. And one day we were talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case, the guys when they were getting convicted and everything. And he had Lee Merritt on there. He was, civil rights attorney, and he was for the family of Ahmaud Arbery. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm like, God, I admire Lee Merritt so much. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah. He's friends with them. And I got to talk with him, ask some questions and stuff, and he recorded it. And he said, yeah, I'm starting to do a podcast, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I just to show up in the rooms. You never know when your blessing is going to come. I literally was in my hospital room on the 16th and listening to the Power of Influence off on my little speaker, off my phone on Clubhouse. And we were talking, and I was like, and he was like, yeah, she doesn't know it yet, but I'm making this announcement tonight. Vanessa's my new official co-host for the Hip Hop Rewind and the Power of Influence. Awesome. I was like, in my worst moment, I got blessed, right, with that. And I was like, Jerry, I'm in the hospital right now too, and the nurses are rocking out. And it was just really crazy. And we've done some really awesome things with that. And we've had some really great interviews. We just finished season 1, been able and blessed to interview Anthony Hamilton, Terry Lewis of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Yeah, we did the, I think the 20th or was it 25th? Either it was the 20th or 25th anniversary of The Wire, the show that was on HBO. We had the cast. We had 6
Yeah.
cast members of The Wire on there. We got to interview them. So that's like Kaliki
What?
McCullum, Mac Wilds, Sandra Curry. Yeah. We've had some other great things happening, and we have a lot more coming for season 2. Jerry's coming out here for the Super Bowl in February, so we're going to be doing things there. Looking to go to Essence Fest this year. Jerry was there, but he's looking to take the team to Essence Fest this summer. So, I got a reason
That's
to
up.
get better
You
and to do
need to
things.
yeah, you need
Yeah.
to like get to getting it. And like I think cousin, like we're gonna be through treatment in one way or another for like a minute, and we just can't like let it stop us from
Yeah.
traveling and just doing doing our thing. Like I told your ass, and that's the crazy part. As soon as it happened, I said, girl, if you don't pick up a camera and start recording your journey, I'm gonna fight you. And then literally, but when it happened to me, I didn't even have a choice but pick up a camera because I told you to do it, right? So I'm like,
that's true.
Like,
That's true.
I don't have a choice. I have to do it now, but like you have a lot to say, and like it's just time, because again, you never know who's gonna who you're gonna touch and stuff. So you got your camera now. I need you to get you a little tripod.
I you know what I'm gonna do too? I was just feeling like, okay, what should I talk about? Because I'm like, okay, most of my days is really boring, especially when we're doing like, we just did our year in review on Clubhouse, and Jerry's gonna be editing that. And I'm like, it's really boring. My life's really boring most days, because I can't really like do a lot of things I did before, like cook for myself and stuff like that. Like I would normally, do a cooking tutorial. But as I get better, I still think it's worth, like you said, to show the journey and to talk about inspirational things. And I do have things I have a lot of stuff, footage on my phone that I haven't even posted on Instagram that definitely can develop for that. But also I think as I'm going into, God willing, going into phase 3 of this healing journey, that it's really important to kind of like document that process too, because I know we don't see a lot of us talking about,
we don't talk about it.
And you do know that with people of color, there's this pathologist that comes into our room sometimes, Dr. Keisha, who is super knowledgeable, and they do Cancer Care Club on Clubhouse, and they're doing more on Instagram now, but she's so informative. And she was saying that people of color are skyrocketing, are getting more cancer cases on a daily basis, and it's rising, and it's rising in people who are younger too. So I mean, it's important. And I felt like I didn't have a voice for a while, and then some people did try to make me feel like, well, if you speak on it, you're believing on it, you're claiming that cancer. And it's like, but I'm not claiming cancer whatsoever. I'm like, this is what we're dealing with, though I can't deny what I'm dealing with. I can't just ignore it. So I know with you pushing me to do that, which I'm very proud of you, documenting that, your journey and everything, because it is going to help someone. And I'm starting to get the push to do it more and to document it more, and just find a schedule, honestly, that's going to work good for me, because it does take a lot of energy.
Girl, it takes so much energy, and then the editing,
been able to write like I want to too. So it's depressing,
But are you still writing for Woman to Woman?
I haven't been. I'm still the managing editor. My boss and editor-in-chief, Brittany Miller, she's amazing. I just physically haven't been able to write the way I want to. And I have I have a really good article that I'm just like, okay, God, just give me the strength to just type it out, because this treatment and this stuff has affected my whole body. Like this week, my whole right side and all my legs, literally from my head down to my hands and stuff, it hurts a lot to type. And so I just like, Lord, nothing else is going to be taken away from me, because I'm a writer, I'm an editor, I'm a producer, I'm a podcast host. That's part of my gifting and what I do. And I want to be able to do that and to continue to do that. So I have a really good article idea that I just really feel I want to get out. And I'm hopefully going to be working on that this weekend, and hopefully have it out by the 2nd or the 3rd. But there's some really great stuff on Woman to Woman Talk. They've had some really great interviews, doing some really great things. Just had for the Brittany Miller brand, they just had the Flowers Awards brunch in Philly a couple of weeks ago. So that's definitely good stuff. And they're planning the gala in Atlanta for some time in 2023. So I'm like, I don't care. I'm going one way or the other. Yeah. One way or another, I'm going.
How was me? I was so jealous.
How was Atlanta?
No, Disney. I saw you, Kimmy, April.
It was. I wish you were there so we could make it a bigger cousins trip. It was great. You know, it was really, you know, it was a blessing. First of all, it's a blessing to be alive and to be able to celebrate that with your family and to be able to have options. We were able to do a lot because I am listed, because when you're being diagnosed with cancer, you are listed as disabled. So you could take advantage of the DOS, they call it the Disability Services portal that they have. So I was able to register on the app prior to going, and it made it so much easier because it's kind of like a fast pass, but it enables you to give you enough time to rest, to stop, and still like enjoy like different attractions in the park and stuff like that. So that's what it is. So because of that, we were able to kind of like do more with our day. Kimmy didn't stay that night, but me and my sister, we stayed the night at the Grand California Hotel, so it'd be easier for me to rest and everything, because you know the next day we had our great uncle Willie's 80th birthday party in Costa Mesa, which is right close to Anaheim. So that was good. So in order for me to be able to do a lot, you know, we just did that. So it was really good, but it was a good time. And I mean, I want a time where like all my family can be together. I mean, we did like a Disney cruise or something. I don't know.
Hold on. Did Granny go? Remember the last time she went with the, I said, did Granny go?
No, she didn't go. Her and mom were getting things together for Christmas, because we did Uncle Willie's 80th birthday party, which was amazing because, you know, first of all, it's a blessing to see a Black man get older,
isn't it?
You know, and he was able to walk in on his own. He walked in, let me tell you, he had his little birthday crown and sash on, right? You know what he walked in on? You remember like Deion Sanders, he says, play my theme music.
No,
he walked in.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I think I have it on video somewhere on my phone. I'll have to send it to you.
Oh my God, you have to. Oh, I would have been hollering. I would have had tears.
He's like, play my theme music. It was a
oh God, I would have had legit tears.
And he was trying to stretch in a little bit too. So
he was trying to stretch.
Yes, he was trying to shred a little bit. So it was just really good and a blessing. And then on that Sunday of Christmas, he and his wife came over, and then his 2 children that came in, and his son's wife and their mother had came for Christmas. And then of course Auntie Anna and Kimmy were there for Christmas. So it was a blessing. It was a blessing.
Well, if you guys have any questions before we wrap this, I mean, there's 3 people, so I'm pretty sure one of them is my mom. The other one is
if she's still here, because I don't know if your mom's even still here. So.
No, she just said thank you, ladies, for sharing. That was on to bed. Okay, so that went down to 2. She's off.
She's not staying up on a Friday night. It's only 7:34 in California.
Girl, it's 8:34 here. Anyways, well, cousin, thank you so much. Girl, we've been going for what? 93? we had a 33. I was like, I know Riley. I told Riley, be quiet.
Like,
don't say anything.
Play with that Barbie dream house. I heard about that.
Girl, oh, Dad, of course. Oh, he got her that 4-story Bratz doll thing. But It's ridiculous. But anyways, well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this edited.
Okay.
So everybody in the replay, follow our channels. If you have any questions,
please, I'm trying to get my followers up. Subscribe.
Yeah, let's get Vanessa's followers. Sure to not have a whole bunch, but we're trying to do some things in 2023. So anyways, well, thank you, cousin.
Thank you.
I
love you too.
Bye.
Bye.